An emergency alert service is being launched to warn people about potentially life-threatening events such as
this, which will aware new football fans to stay away from the Spurs, which is really hazardous for their health because Spurs are absolute shit.
Let's go! Come on!
The situation at the club is so worse that they even had to sack their caretaking manager Stellini after their defeat against Newcastle, which was the club's worst Premier League defeat since 2013. Well, defeat's an embarrassment. Spurs are used to it. I mean, that's what Conte said last month before getting sacked. And he's not wrong though, because Spurs have become now a meme club, onto which anyone could walk in, give their opinions and laugh about it. Yes, that's true. I mean, their fans have gotten used to it. But certainly, there is a point that even their fans could not take it anymore. And that point was the first 20 minutes against Newcastle, where they conceded 5 goals. 5 freaking goals. I mean, even the Newcastle players who scored could not believe it. Well, there have been many miserable moments over the last 4 or 5 years. And in this period, we have seen some of the best managers in the world facing failures at this club. And that's embarrassing. And given that Spurs are one of the big 6 from this Premier League, who normally finishes in top 4 in each and every season, and also have players as good as Harry Kane and so on, but still, they managed to play this badly. I mean, this has to be totally unacceptable. And actually, I gotta give credit to their fans. I mean, how calm they are in this kind of situation. And these are the clear signs of how directionless this club is. And too frequently in every season, you will see a performance like this from Spurs, who looks like a team who does not seem to care whether they win the matches or not. I mean, seriously, as a fan, I would be exploding at this moment. That's why now it's a high time that Spurs as a club needs to think about major changes, major innovation from the next season. Well, first of all, Spurs needs to decide on their overall football structure, which is clearly what the club has lacked. Every sporting project that the club had looked just for the shorter terms, but now they need to think big and for the future. Currently, they have appointed Ryan Mason as an interim coach for the men's team until the end of the season, which some people are saying that he's the cheap version of Frank Lampard. And I actually do believe that. But still, on the other hand, their women's team is still without a manager. The club's chairman, Daniel Levy, is a great businessman. He did exceptionally well in generating revenue and spending it on the infrastructure, the state of the art, which are some of the best in Europe. But when it came to sporting projects, sporting side, he literally needs to sit and think a lot about it. See now, Daniel Levy has been the chairman of Spurs for 22 years, and that's even more than the age of people getting engaged. Anyway, that's not the point. In these 22 years, Spurs have just won a single cup, which is Audi Cup. I mean, if you still consider it as an achievement, then you are a sick person. But surely in this period, many managers have changed, but the club remains unsuccessful, and that is something to think about. I mean, just 11 months ago, there was a report that Spurs generated 150 million euros last season, and well, that money was given to Conte for the transfers. But as you can see where the club stands right now, that 150 million euros looks like have gone in vain. And that's why from next season, Daniel Levy needs to have a clear idea about its football structure around the club. And once it's finalized, they need a manager who is well suited for that project, for that football structure. And most importantly, they need to back him. And backing just doesn't mean that they need to splash cash on the players, but it is to identify what manager really needs. They have to listen to the manager and have to give him full authority over the dressing room. And ultimately, the board needs to have patience. Well, currently there was news that Pochettino was close to returning to Spurs, but after watching their performance against Newcastle, he's now close to joining to Chelsea. Anyway, there are still elite managers free in the market. No, not you guys. Yeah, this two are good. But the real question is that, will they accept Tottenham Hotspurs? And now the next issue that they need to resolve is kind of a big concern from last few seasons, and it is all about Harry Kane. And obviously, Harry Kane had done a lot for this club. He is their top goal scorer, plus he has saved this club a lot of times in big games. But even after having great profile, he don't have a title in his CV. And that is something a player like Harry Kane do not deserve. And we all know Daniel Levy have been reluctant on letting him leave. But now I guess it's a high time, because a player like him, he needs to get out of this mess as soon as possible. And that's my personal opinion, because a player like him do not deserve this kind of mess. And obviously he's now 30, he needs to think about his future, because retiring without a trophy in this club would be a major disappointment, even after scoring such amount of goals. And that's why I guess Harry Kane also would be thinking about his future. There are many big clubs that are waiting for him, like Man United, Bayern Munich. And if that's the case, Daniel Levy has to let him leave and needs to start planning for a team without him, and which means he have to find his replacement. And Richarlison, well, he hasn't scored a single Premier League goal this season, which is a really shocking stat because he was bought in the club for 60 million euros. It just shows that the club did not plan anything when it comes to transfers. And in last 4 or 5 seasons, they had done some pretty bad business. And that's why from next season, they need to clear out their dressing room. And as Conte said that players are protected over here, that should be changed as soon as possible. Because there are players who have been disappointing since the day they have been bought at this club. There are some players in this club that are absolute shit, but still, their agents have the audacity of saying that do not deserve such mess and they are made to play for Real Madrid. I mean, seriously dude, this guy, Royal Emerson. This guy was bought and sold in the same transfer window by Barcelona. And what was more shocking that Spurs even took him for the high price. He thinks he is him, but he isn't. And that's why these things have to be changed. Their boards needs to refine, clear out the dressing room and needs to lay out the plan to sign perfect players and the perfect manager. Anyway, ultimately it's all about setting aims for your club. I mean, they gotta decide what their club needs to be. A big club who fights for the silverware or a mid-table club who wants to stay safe from the relegation. And whatever they decide, but they need to take action as soon as possible because the clubs like Newcastle, Brighton are taking over the Premier League and their players are far more better than the Spurs currently. And that's why they need a major revamp from next season. But anyway, that's it for today guys. Thanks for watching the video. Let me know your thoughts about this shit situation of the Spurs as a club. Let me know it all in the comments down below. Before leaving, make sure you like and share this video and subscribe the channel. And as usual, I'll meet you soon with another new video. Until that time, as you all know, just enjoy the game.